The Guardian Chapter 6. Historical fiction inspired by Malta's past. All characters and dialogue are invented for storytelling. Welcome to The Guardian, Il-Hares, Il-Hares. June 1798 AD. In Berkirkara, Maria Borg stepped out of the Rosina Cumbo Hospital after a night tending children with fever. In the square, two girls played hopscotch. A boy waited his turn. For a breath, life looked ordinary. Then one shot. A young French soldier, startled and afraid, fired. Maria fell. The silver pendant her husband Vincenzo had given her snapped free and hit the dust. Vincenzo reached her too late. He knelt, closed her eyes, and went very still. Beneath them, in my limestone, grief burned like a small, new heat. Loss arrives fast. Not with trumpets or flags. Just silence and stone. 2 days earlier, on June 9, 1798 AD, tall ships with tricolor flags had brought Napoleon Bonaparte to Malta. He landed with about 29,000 men against Malta's defense of 332 knights and a few thousand local soldiers. The Knights of St. John, rulers for 268 years, surrendered with barely a struggle under Grand Master Ferdinand von Hompesch. On June 11th, as signatures sealed the handover in the palace, the earth trembled. Ink spilled. Chairs scraped. A brief earthquake passed through Malta. Stone cracks in silence. The ground does not pick a side. Only echoes pain. Napoleon stayed about 10 days, reorganized governance, then left on June 19 for Egypt. He left General Claude-Henri Vaubois with about 4,000 troops to hold the islands. Some measures promised modern order. Slavery and noble titles were abolished, schools opened to boys and girls, the university was reformed, and civil marriages were introduced. But the same administration also moved against church wealth and public practice. Churches were emptied, valuables taken, religious orders had property confiscated, many monasteries and convents were closed, and bells and processions were banned. Some Maltese supported the reforms. Others felt threatened. Soon the deeper wound appeared, Maltese against Maltese. People took French work to feed families. Others resisted. Trust broke inside homes. Vincenzo Borg, holding Maria's pendant, refused to let grief dissolve into chaos. Matthew Pulley spoke to him of self-rule. They decided the French would be met with organization. Liberty wears masks. Sometimes velvet, sometimes steel. Sometimes both at once. On September 2, 1798 AD, the breaking point came when French soldiers tried to loot the Carmelite Church in Dinah and the Church of St. Nicholas in Sigui. Crowds rose up and killed the looters. The rebellion spread quickly. The French pulled back into the fortified harbor cities, taking Valletta and the Three Cities. Outside the walls, leadership formed. Canon Francesco Saverio Caruana helped shape the cause. Emmanuel Vitali led in the south. Vincenzo Borg, known as Brard, led the central villages from Tashindi farmhouse. Meetings rotated from church to church, disguised as prayer, organized with from Major Joaquim Navarro de Andrade, a Portuguese knight who stayed behind. When scouts reported 4 French cannons moving toward Mrihol, Borg set an ambush. Farmers and stonemasons surged from hiding as the column arrived. The gunners tried to load grapeshot, but the iron canisters stuck together. The cannons could not speak, and the village fighters disabled them. I stayed near. Since the lightning long ago, I could touch only metal and magnetism. I used it sparingly, nudging iron toward delay and confusion. Small things. Quiet things. The British Royal Navy established a blockade to weaken France. It lasted 2 years. Inside French-held Valletta, food grew scarce and disease spread. Civilians trapped within suffered alongside the garrison. February 6, 1799 AD, Sanglia. Resistance leaders met inside a church. The meeting had been betrayed. A French patrol came with grenades intended to kill those gathered. The grenades struck and scorched stone, but did not explode. I reached without thinking. I touched the bomb's heart with the force that lives in me now. The blast folded inward instead of outward. People called it divine protection. I did not claim it. But I understood, more clearly than ever, what I had become. Divine or guardian? Bomb that fails to open. Faith finds its answer. By summer 1800 AD, with Napoleon's fortunes shifting and his forces in Egypt defeated, the French position in Malta became untenable. On September 5, 1800 AD, Vaubois surrendered to British forces. The tricolor came down. The Union Jack rose. Vincenzo Bork watched the change of flags and felt no celebration in it. Malta had simply moved from one master to another again. Yet the Maltese had organized, strategized, and acted for themselves. Perhaps one day these lands will taste self-governance. For now, a new chapter began under a different flag. Visit Malta. Go to ManicMalta.com/G0 for a family-run Airbnb. 6. Short.